Hey guys, I thought I would show you the 3 apps that I just can't do without on my iPhone. I've been using these particular 3 apps for years, almost a decade now, and they've just served me well. Most of my systems, other than Word documents, Excel, things like that, ride on these 3 apps. So I thought I'd share the 3 apps I can't do without. So what we're looking at here is my iPhone home screen, and so the 3 apps. I'm going to start out with kind of the least important one, but still super helpful, and that's Trello. I use Trello primarily for one specific use case, and that is to communicate with customers. So here's an example of an existing job that I've got going on right now, and it's just a small repair and remodel that I'm doing for some folks. And so the lists that I have set up on it are conversations. And again, this is a homeowner for construction project. The remaining phases, so they can see what's left on the job. This week's plan, so I update that on the weekend so they can see what I'm planning on doing the next week. What's going on today, so I update that the evening, around 5 o'clock in the evening, to let them know what's happening the next day. So I just, grab something and move it over. And then since they also have the same Trello board on the internet and on their phone, they get notified of what my plan is. At the end of the week, this will be filled with all the things I've gotten done this week, archive completed items. So we have a reference, and then we have reference if there's a permit, signed contract, accounting on the job, any particular reference items. So that's one thing, and that's my primary use case for Trello. The next one is the classic Evernote. I use this for all of my archive and reference for the most part, for anything that is not a current project that needs current things for it. And for current projects, I will archive documents and stuff. And I have a scanner, obviously the web clipper, photos from my iPhone. There's a ton of ways to get things into Evernote, as you probably know. But this gives me online instant access to all my receipts that I scan in, project documentations, quotes, anything that's archive or reference, I'll stick in Evernote. And I use it pretty much every day to drop things in, and then I reference things regularly every week. And I have about 14,000 notes in there at this point. But then the best app of all time for me is an app called Workflowy, and it's an kind of an outliner, it's a bullet point app that has some powerful but flexible functionality to it, and you essentially create the app to serve your own needs. I run all of my task lists, all of my projects on this, and so what you're seeing on screen now is kind of my business infrastructure and personal projects I'm working on this week, and these are job projects down here, these 4, and then I have a reference note in there as well. And often at the top you see this reconciliation, communication, and systematic. If there's something that I want to keep at the top of my mind for a week or longer, I will post it to the top of Workflowy, which means I'm going to see it hundreds of times that week, because I operate in Workflowy at my desktop and at my on my iPhone all day, every day. And this just happens to be a current project that I'm working on, kind of a mental exercise, trying to understand how I operate best. So I just post that to the top. Sometimes that'll just have a quote that I want to keep in mind and kind of memorize and interact with. But Workflowy is a project for me. It's a way that I manage my projects. I manage any kind of lists, take notes. If I'm watching a YouTube video, I'll take notes. I'll copy and paste the YouTube video in here. You can copy and paste, drop photos as well. There's just a ton of things, and everybody's workflow is going to look different because it's really something that you build to work the way that your mind works. And so this works for me. Those are the 3 apps that I really couldn't do without, Workflowy being the one that absolutely I would, rather lose a finger than lose Workflowy. So hopefully that's helpful. Try those apps out, see if they work for you. Let me know in the comments if that's helpful.